Hey guys, today I have a banger of a show for you. Up until now, we've been hearing from Nick Shirley and other journalists, but never have we had a congressional hearing like Brando Gill exposing it with facts. Also, a Somali man that literally came out and told you exactly what they're doing. And then, of course, we have Byron Donald telling you how it is. And if all of this doesn't show you irrefutable evidence of what they're doing in Minnesota and Tim Walz knew about it, I do not know what will. Stay tuned.
My name is Mohammed. I'm speaking today on behalf of the Somali community in Lewiston. Some of you sitting here today, we voted for you. We elected you to protect our community interest, not creating division or go after one elected member from our community. If this narrative continues, our community will be forced to re-examine our relationship or political relationship, including our relationship with the Democratic Party and who will be voting in the future.
And here's a Somali man that came out and said exactly what they're doing in black and white, crystal clear. Basically what he's saying is, you give us money, look the other way, let us do our thing. And in return, we are going to have all of our people vote for you and give you your power, and we will additionally give you kickback. If this is not blatantly fraud, I don't know what is. He's saying it in black and white.
Back in Washington, just left the oversight hearing on Minnesota. I mean, this thing is crazy. You have the governor and his team going after whistleblowers, state employees, trying to do the right thing in Minnesota to explain the fraud that was happening, to get it under control. And it looks like Governor Walz, the Lieutenant Governor, the Attorney General, Keith Ellison, not only did they know about it, they were trying to protect the fraud to continue. These fraudsters were donating campaign cash to the governor and the Attorney General. The whistleblowers who were coming forward were threatened. Their jobs were threatened. Their careers were threatened. And then we find out that the fraudsters were buying property in Kenya and Turkey, sending money back to Somalia. The money going back to Somalia could potentially have fallen into the hands of Al-Shabaab, the Al-Qaeda affiliates in Somalia. Absolute crazy stuff.
We just heard from Byron Donald, congressman from Florida. He just came out and exposed everything. Basically, Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Keith Ellison knew about it. They were complicit about it. They were threatening whistleblowers with their livelihood, going after them if they were to do anything about it. The worst of it all is that all the money that these fraudsters made, they took it overseas, like Kenya and countries like that. They don't even use it in this country. And some of that money would end up in terrorist hands. Imagine that. This is not just fraud. This is national security. Now let's hear from Brando Gill, Texas congressman. In this congressional hearing, he was a total rock star. He totally dismantled the left narrative that every immigrant that comes to this country only makes this country stronger, regardless of where they're from. It is not the case, and it is not the case in Minnesota. All the Somali that comes here to this country, they don't assimilate. They don't even learn English. All they do is suck the system dry. What do? They get everything they want. They don't assimilate. They don't progress. They don't make themselves better and contribute to the United States. Let's hear it from Brando Gill.
Of working age Somalians who have been in the U.S. for 10 years or more, how many of them speak English very well?
I don't know.
About half. The answer is about half. That seems pretty low, doesn't it?
Again, I keep trying
It doesn't
to
sound like something that makes our country stronger to me, and I think most Americans would agree with me on that. I need to move on. Ms. Robbins, when would you say we concretely knew that widespread welfare fraud was occurring in Minnesota?
There have been reports since 2009 from the Office of Legislative Auditor. I would say the credible reports on childcare fraud started surfacing 2011 to 2013.
So for over a decade.
Yes, sir.
When do you think Governor Walz knew about this fraud?
From the very beginning. He was running for governor in 2018 when there were prosecutions going on, when there was an OLA report, active cases in the news all the time.
And what was the Walz administration's response?
They actually did nothing when they got into office, and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan had been on the committee in the legislature that had hearings on child care fraud, and when they got into office, they did put $5 million into a little more money, but nothing changed.
But nothing. And let me ask you, Mr. Hudson, thank you for being here. Did those who commit this fraud, do they typically vote for Republicans or Democrats, in your opinion?
In my opinion, thank you for qualifying it like that, I would say they most definitely overwhelmingly vote for Democrats.
Do they typically donate to Republicans or Democrats?
Not to my knowledge. They
In your
don't
opinion?
donate to Republicans, they donate to Democrats, in my opinion, yes.
Got it. So would you say this is the Somali population is an important demographic for Democrats to win over politically?
Unquestionably.
Got it. And do you think it would have hurt Democrats' political standing with the Somali population to investigate this fraud?
Very clearly.
Got it. So in other words, you're saying that there was a political incentive to cover up widespread Somali fraud. Is that right?
100%.
Got it. Let me ask all three of you. Did the Walz administration and Democrats intentionally, in your opinion, overlook this fraud while it was happening for political gain? I'll start with you, Ms. Robbins.
Absolutely. We have credible whistleblower reports that the Department of Human Services administration up to the OIG and the commissioner met with a group called the Minnesota Minority Child Care Association multiple times, and that they were trying to weaken protections. We wanted,
Right.
we had several changes we wanted to do, and they opposed all of them.
And Mr. Hudson and Ms. Rarick, and then my time is up.
I would agree.
Absolutely. The whistleblowers confirm it.
Got it.
Now let's hear from Paulina Luna, Congresswoman from Florida. She has proved that Tim Walz knew about the defrauding and the fraud that was going on in Minnesota since 2018. Now she's pursuing criminal charges for defrauding the United States, along with A.G. Ellison and himself, Tim Walz, of course. Now imagine we dodged the bullet. Imagine if Kamala Harris would have won. Imagine Tim Walz being the Vice President of the United States. That would have been a disaster for the United States and for Minnesota and for all the taxpayers.
Honorable Robbins, based on your record before your committee, when did Governor Walz first become aware of widespread fraud in Minnesota social service programs?
I would assume that he has been aware of it since he ran for office for governor in 2018.
By 2017, DHS investigators warned CCAP fraud could exceed 50%. What was that information elevated to the governor's office?
Yes, there was an OLA report.
Thank you, ma'am. By 2020, state officials knew feeding our future invoices were fraudulent. We know that payments continued to the AG's knowledge. Did they continue to the governor's knowledge as well?
Yes.
Attorney General Ellison agreed on tape to fight Minnesota's own Department of Human and Health Services in exchange for Somali political and financial support. In your personal opinion, do you believe it is a possibility that Governor Walz also made that personal deal, or that he at least knew about the Attorney General's agreement?
I don't know.
Okay. I don't want to rehash what you guys have spent hours answering. We know that there's a big issue with the fraud in Minnesota. So on a number of things, I'd first like to point out, thank you for being here today, but because of your testimony and because of some of the evidence that we've seen brought forward, as well as I'm sure the fact that this committee, I assume, at Chairman Comer's direction, will be soon subpoenaing A.G. Ellison, I would like to make criminal referrals regarding Governor Walz as well as A.G. Ellison. As you know, U.S. Code 371 and U.S. Code 2, which deals with criminalized conspiracies to defraud the United States and establishes liability for individuals who knowingly aid or abet the commission of federal offense, includes willful blindness or deliberate inaction where duties to act exist. So I will be.
The other day I talked about Sohran Mamdani, the socialist mayor of New York. Looks like he hasn't seen the news or heard anything from Minnesota because he's trying to make New York Minnesota Part 2. Listen to what he's saying with universal health care. All these healthcare services is the same healthcare services and the same fraud that's going on in Minnesota, and now Sohran Mamdani somehow thinks it's a good idea. Therefore, I need to emphasize on this. We need to put people behind bars because of the Minnesota fraud. If not, there will be more copycats around the country that think they could do the same thing because nothing is going to be done. The government never does anything. We need to change that.
Not only when we make pre-K truly universal, but expand this care to include all 2- and 3-year-olds across the city. As the governor said, we will deliver to care by working in partnership with child care providers, especially home-based providers.
If you like exposing the left as much as I do, please comment, like, and subscribe. More videos to come. Until then, see ya.